and you can see this building behind me completely engulfed in flames. Firefighters trying to combat these flames, and this is all courtesy of these embers traveling sometimes several kilometers, fanned by these extremely strong winds. On the pro-Palestinian side, on the student protester side, there's a lot of resistance as well. We've seen a lot of people running toward that direction. Those are flashbangs that you're hearing right there, flashbangs launched by police to try to scare protesters. This is very much still an active crime scene investigation. Authorities trying to piece together exactly what happened during that those fateful few minutes during that terror attack early Wednesday morning, early New Year's Day. Authorities, of course, carrying out a local investigation, but also casting a much wider net. A couple hundred meters away from the U.S. border, but this is perhaps the hardest part of the journey. Migrants who have made it this far are asked to wait here and to apply for an official interview using an app called CBP1. Yinka, it's hard to overstate how much of an earthquake 2022 was when that conservative-leaning Supreme Court, those judges, many of them who were appointed by Donald Trump, decided to overturn Roe v. Wade. Dans un communiqué, le syndicat des scénaristes parle d'un accord exceptionnel avec de nombreuses avancées. On ne connaîtra pas le contenu exact de cet accord avant qu'il ne soit ratifié par les deux parties, mais au début de la grève, le syndicat avait une longue liste d'exigences. For the past 48 hours, hundreds of people have been coming here to either donate things like food, clothing, medicine, or canned goods, or volunteer some of their time. In just a few hours, the eyes of the entertainment world will be focused on the Dolby Theater right here in Los Angeles. Celebrities getting ready for their big red carpet moment.
Ce sont des centaines de personnes qui sont coincées dans leur résidence depuis parfois près d'une semaine. Parfois des résidents, des personnes qui habitent là tout au long de l'année, mais aussi des personnes qui sont en vacances.
Hello everyone, you're watching live from Paris. Here are the headlines this hour. U.S. and Russian diplomats are in Geneva this week to hold a series of bilateral talks. At the top of the agenda is the situation in Ukraine, of course. Both countries have said they will be working together to avert war in the region. Authorities in Nigeria are urging thousands of internally displaced people to go back home. According to them, the security situation in Borno State has sufficiently improved to allow them to close a refugee camp in the city of Maiduguri. We did hear of those reports that tens of thousands of civilians in Mariupol have been evacuated to Russia by Russian troops. Can you confirm that information? Do you have a specific number, perhaps? I want to ask you about some comments that you made earlier this month saying that the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming threshold is not going to happen. I saw one of your tweets saying that 2.5 degrees was more of a realistic target. Why are we still telling people that the goals set by the Paris Climate Accord are still achievable when we know that we'll go beyond that? In the spring sunshine of Venice Beach, Charlotte is showing Sandra and Fabrice around this quintessential part of Los Angeles.
We can divide his life into three parts. The first part as an Austrian immigrant who came to the U.S. without a penny.
This couple from northern France is spending nearly a month in the U.S., undeterred by the fires earlier this year or Donald Trump's immigration crackdown.
We did our research online and we talked to relatives, but we told ourselves we'd form our own opinion in person, and we have no regrets.
But Charlotte, who has been guiding French tourists in California for 3 years, says not everyone is feeling as adventurous.
We're already starting to feel some hesitation about coming to the U.S. Some people are worried, others are canceling. There's already a slight drop in numbers.
According to a recent study, French travelers' intentions to visit the United States have dropped by 25% compared to this time last year.
Right now, it's really the new administration that's scaring people. They're afraid of going through customs. They're afraid things will go wrong once they're here.
And it's not just French tourists who are feeling skittish about the U.S. Across the board, travelers are thinking twice, and the numbers speak for themselves. International arrivals to the U.S. were down more than 11% this March compared to last year, with even sharper drops from Europe and Central America. In Hollywood, tour operators like Chris Leshinger say they're already feeling the effects, especially from neighbors up north who have been threatened with a trade war and annexation.
We found a lot of people that were getting our ads from Canada were not so happy to be getting them. They didn't really want to come to the U.S., and they had a lot of very colorful things to say about not wanting to travel.
Down the block, it's not just tourists who are disappearing. Supplies are getting more expensive too.
March 25th, the colored t-shirt per dozen was $40, and April 22nd, 2025, colored t-shirt became like $48 per dozen.
That increase a direct consequence of the Trump administration's tariffs on China. That's where many of the souvenirs sold here are produced, with vendors increasing prices and businesses having to make tough choices.
I probably cut off my employee hour, so I have to put more hour myself.
With the current administration showing little sign of backing down, the outlook for U.S. tourism is growing increasingly overcast.
Beautiful homes here, just gone. Walked my dog many times down these streets and around.
As Greg Thompson returns home for the first time since Tuesday's fire, the devastation around him is almost surreal.
Things on a TV screen can be pretty graphic, but when you're driving right through it and smelling charred homes, it's a whole different thing.
Many of the winding roads of Pacific Palisades have become a wasteland, complete devastation street after street, but there are a lucky few.
Unbelievable. This is my home.
As he surveys his home, Greg is filled with both relief and disbelief.
The thing about this fire is there's no rhyme or reason. This tree was completely in flames, but the wind was blowing so hard that instead of pushing the flames onto my home, I think they pushed it onto our neighbors here.
The damage is minor. These melted surveillance cameras and a burned deck, the main casualties on this property.
I don't know, somebody up there decided to spare me.
Of course, not everyone was as lucky as this family. Officials say more than 5,000 structures have been destroyed just in this Palisades fire. Not only homes, but also businesses, places of worship, and schools. This is what's left of one of the neighborhood's preschools.
There's no schools. There's no place to get food. And I mean, for miles.
Film director John Turtletaub, whose 3 children used to come here, fears for the area's future.
Will this be valuable property again, or is this the least valuable property in all of Los Angeles?
Around the region, scenes of apocalypse as firefighting efforts continue around the clock.